On September 30, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan Ilham Aliyev, along with his son A.Aliyev, participated in the unveiling ceremony of a statue of the prominent figure of Azerbaijani Ashuk art and great folk artist A.Alasgar in Baku. The head of state addressed the event. President Ilham Aliyev emphasized that it's a very significant day for the country. As you may be aware, A.Alasgar lived all his life and worked in Göça district, the ancient land of Azerbaijan, lived a long life there but was forced to leave his native land in the last years of his life. He was 97 years old at the time. In 1918, Armenian radicals subjected Azerbaijanis to ethnic cleansing. This was the first deportation of Azerbaijanis from their ancient land in western Azerbaijan in the 20th century. Unfortunately, our people were subjected to 2 more waves of deportation after that. A.Alasgar moved to the neighboring Kelbajar district together with his family. However, his native land never stopped attracting him to Göça district. Although in terms of climate, nature and beauty, Kelbajar and Göça districts are not very dissimilar, but his love of the motherland and his native land was so strong that, despite all the dangers involved, he returned to his native village of Agkilsa in about 3 years and died there a few years later, he said. Mr. President said that 150th anniversary of A.Alasgar's birth was celebrated on the Soviet Union wide scale on the initiative of the national leader I.Aliyev in the 1970s, and his statue was erected in his native Agkilsa village on the occasion of his jubilee. When our people were subjected to the 3rd wave of deportation, Armenian vandals destroyed that statue. We are seeing that today in Karabakh and East Zengezur. Our historical sites, monuments to prominent personalities, mosques, palaces and cemeteries were destroyed by Armenian vandals. This practice is not new. This injustice, this brutality has been committed against us in front of the whole world for centuries. President of the Republic of Azerbaijan Ilham Aliyev stressed that A.Alasgar was forced to leave his land at the age of 97 but returned there at the age of 100. Despite all the dangers, those dangers had not completely subsided yet at the time. The establishment of a statue of the outstanding representative of Western Azerbaijan today is first of all a sign of respect of the Azerbaijani people for the memory of A.Alasgar. At the same time, this statue is a symbol that invites all Western Azerbaijanis and indeed all the people of Azerbaijan to unite for one cause. We are looking forward to that day. We believe, I believe, and you believe in that too. The day will come when we will restore the statue of A.Alasgar destroyed by Armenians and hold a similar ceremony in Agkilsa village, emphasized President Ilham Aliyev. President Ilham Aliyev unveiled the statue of A.Alasgar. The President of Azerbaijan placed a bouquet at the base of the statue. The author of the statue is people's artist A.Aliyev, while Malik Babayev, a senior lecturer at the Azerbaijani Academy of Arts, is a sculptor. We strongly condemn the Speaker of the Armenian Parliament, Alan Simonyan, for distorting Azerbaijani government statements regarding the right of return for Western Azerbaijanis who were expelled from their native lands and for making racist remarks. The right of return, emphasized in Azerbaijan's statement, is an inseparable part of international law and fundamental human rights. Simonyan's interpretation of this right as a territorial claim stems from Armenia's habitual use of human rights arguments to pursue its aggressive policies. Simonyan's suggestion of sending Azerbaijanis to the Altai Mountains to search for their historical homeland further reveals the prevalence of racist and ethnocentric ideologies within Armenia's leadership. It's worth recalling that on September 27, 2020, when Armenia initiated war against Azerbaijan, the Chief of Staff of the Armenian Armed Forces made a similar racist statement claiming that the purpose of Armenia's attack was to send Azerbaijanis to the Altai Mountains. We all know how that ended for Armenia. Simonyan's remarks are an attempt to disrupt the peace process and undermine the right of return for Azerbaijanis expelled from Armenia. At the Western Azerbaijan community, we demand that Armenia refrain from such racist rhetoric and respect the right of return for Western Azerbaijanis. Chairman of the Board of the Western Azerbaijan Community, Aziz Alakbarli, and members of the community visit the monument of A.Alasgar, a prominent representative of Azerbaijani Ashuk art. Members of the community laid flowers in front of the monument and honored the memory of A.Alasgar. Western Azerbaijanis expressed their confidence that A.Alasgar's destroyed and ruined tomb and monument in Göça will soon be improved by them after the return. It should be noted that according to the relevant decrees signed by President Ilham Aliyev 3 years ago, it was planned to celebrate the 200th anniversary of A.Alasgar, a prominent representative of Azerbaijani Ashuk art. We condemn the reference made by the United States Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, Daphne Rand, to alleged violations of human rights and humanitarian law in Nagorno-Karabakh during her speech at the 2024 OSCE Human Dimensions Conference. First of all, there is no region called Nagorno-Karabakh in Azerbaijan. The use of this term, which is associated with occupation and separatism by a United States official, is a disrespect to Azerbaijan's territorial integrity. Secondly, no violations of human or humanitarian rights occurred in the Karabakh region while Azerbaijan was restoring its territorial integrity and sovereignty. It's completely unacceptable to refer to the refusal of ethnic Armenians to reintegrate into Azerbaijani society as a violation of their rights. Finally, given the United States' decades-long silence on the mass violations of the rights of Azerbaijanis due to Armenians' ethnic cleansing and military aggression, this statement is a clear proof of discrimination against Azerbaijanis based on their ethnic and religious identity. Over 300,000 Azerbaijanis who were deported from Armenia during the last deportation still can't return to their homes. More than 700,000 Azerbaijanis who were expelled from formerly occupied Azerbaijani lands were unable to return for 30 years. Even though those territories have been liberated, the return of former internally displaced persons is hindered by the widespread destruction caused by Armenia and the millions of landmines it buried there. We call on the United States government to put an end to discrimination against Azerbaijanis, to refrain from attempts to reignite conflict in the region, and to support the return of expelled Azerbaijanis to Armenia.